Welcome back to episode 81 of the Block Runner podcast. I'm your host, William, always here with your co-host, Iman.
What's going on?
And today we bring you David Liebowitz, VP of Business Development and founding team member of Everpedia. Thank you for being here, man.
How's it going, guys? Really happy and excited to be here.
Yes. So
good to have you too, man.
Yeah, we were just talking earlier about how Everpedia and Iman was sort of interlinked in like the slightest of ways.
Yeah, man. Like, I was your typical moon boy back in the day. Whenever I first heard about Everpedia, it's like whenever you hear Wikipedia is coming into the blockchain, because everyone back then was looking for like killer apps, right? In 2017, to kind of like prove the use case of Ethereum. I guess the first one was like CryptoKitties. That's the one like everybody heard about. That was like actually breaking the platform at the time. So then I was a big fan of the EOS ecosystem because it was supposed to come and fix all these scalability issues.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons why we picked EOS.
Yeah, I really wanted to get some feedback from you since you guys have been embedded into the platform or ecosystem for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah.
For EOS,
yeah, for sure.
Has it like delivered as far as like your expectations of the blockchain performance and scalability?
For sure. I don't think Everpedia would have been possible on Ethereum. I think different blockchains have different uses. You know, Ethereum with their fees, it has their economic model that works. Like it clearly works. Like look at their network effect. Look how much DeFi is blowing up. But with EOS, it's really good for consumer dApps. I like to think Ethereum is for financial decentralized applications right now. EOS really is good in consumer dApps like Everpedia. And also you have other ESIO chains, NFTs, Wax. They've been doing tremendous work over there with, garbage pail kids and whatnot. So yeah, I think that the blockchain scalability of EOS and EOSIO has definitely delivered.
Awesome.
Have you seen other projects on board onto EOS, and have they been equally as successful, or has there been a struggle just because of the network effect of Ethereum?
Yeah, I would say the most successful EOSIO project, there's a difference, would be Wax. They've definitely seen success. I really like what the dApp token team is doing. With their side chains. I've talked to them a few times. They're really focused on bringing consumer applications to the blockchain, and they're utilizing EOS. I think they're pretty successful. The dApp token's pretty cool.
Okay.
So that's interesting because the Everpedia platform itself, I guess, after I ask this question, you kind of like break down what it is, but it's basically the purpose of it is to decentralize Wikipedia, correct? It's a knowledge base that you guys are aggregating.
Yeah, that was our original purpose, but I feel like we've grown and evolved so much since our original vision, not just from 2017, but from 2015. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but we're like a pre-blockchain project. We started out as a normal website. And we were just, I considered ourselves a supplement to Wikipedia. We imported all of Wikipedia on our platform, and we were really in this Goldilocks zone, of not, notable enough for Wikipedia, but people are still, searching on Google for content, whether it's for creators, influencers, memes, news items, like you name it. Our community would make Everpedia pages for it. And so we wanted to be the next generation encyclopedia. And when 2017 came around, blockchain was getting hot, ICOs were hot. We're just like, hey, we really want to be a next generation encyclopedia. We should really look into this blockchain stuff. And, our original co-founder, Sam Kazemian, he mined cryptocurrency in college. So he already had that learning curve. So he was already familiar with the field. It wasn't like a puzzle to him. And so we got connected to the right people. We got the support. We were able to launch a blockchain product in summer 2018. We've been live for just over 2 years, which is pretty incredible, which is pretty long time in blockchain time.
Yeah, for every year in blockchain time, it's like 3 or 4 years in real time.
Yeah, it's constantly evolving, man. Like the things that were like, I guess you classify them as like darling projects, like in the last cycle, are now kind of like, some of them are like forgotten in the winds, and now we got like this new reemergence of like new ideas and stuff.
Yeah,
which is pretty interesting.
So would you say? Just a quick question. Quick question. Would you say that adding blockchain to an existing platform, Does it increase the traction between your users, your customers? Just
By users, do you mean readers or do you mean
readers,
editors?
basic like
Okay.
editors too
Like
as well.
the whole ecosystem. Yeah, like I guess
Oh, yeah. Okay.
adoption. Yeah.
So I think what's really cool about Everpedia is, one philosophy we have here. It's not about just building great blockchain products. It's just building great products. And so, we still have like millions of unique visitors every month, that land on our site on Google. We've really been focusing on cryptocurrency content, so stuff in the crypto space, whether it's oracles, DeFi, you name it, our community's making pages for it. And we've really seen stuff blow up, like in that area blow up on Twitter. We have a partnership with Brave Browser,
Nice.
where we have our Brave Creator of the Day. So this is one element of it. And a lot of times we focus on, blockchain figures, whether they're companies or, platforms. And so we've been seeing, a lot of traction on that end, just like reaching out to the blockchain community. So we've seen traction there in readership. We've actually seen an increase in editors recently because we implemented this new login system and sign up system called EPID. So we basically, it's easier for anyone to sign up with an email, a Facebook or Twitter, and we take care of all like the tough technical stuff. And all you have to do is edit, and like you can deposit and withdrawal IQ, you can earn IQ rewards for your contributions. It's really cool. So it's now easier than ever to edit, and we're really excited about that.
If you're a new user onto the Everpedia ecosystem, however the tokens are utilized, do you have to go to a separate exchange like everybody else to purchase the IQ tokens and then deposit them into your wallet, or is there some kind of interface that's directly connected to?
Yeah, I believe we like seed if you sign up with EPID, we actually seed it, so you don't have to do that.
That's okay.
But if you want to have more votes or participate on our other platform, PredIQt, you can acquire, in order to participate, you can get tokens on Binance, Upbit, OKX. We're listed on a lot of major exchanges.
So have you had like any feedback from like the community as far as is it like a frictionless experience for them, like interacting with like a crypto ecosystem, or is there a little bit of pushback in that sense?
I mean, sometimes you have to deal with the things that come with EOS is like CPU and RAM, but I think it's definitely been improving a lot. The guys at Graymass and Anchor Wallet have made it a lot easier to manage stuff like that in the background. So, all this stuff, whether it's EOS, Ethereum, it's a process of making it easier for the end user. We're still early on this stuff.
Can you speak upon that? Like in EOS, you have to have CPU and RAM, but that's the developer has to have that to support their users of the project, right? It's not a CPU RAM for the individual user, or is that?
No, the individual has to have it.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, we at Everpedia and PredIQt actually support everyone's EOS and RAM, so they don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
But sometimes when you're like sending and receiving tokens like individually,
then you have to.
When you're interacting with the Everpedia and PredIQt platforms, you don't.
Interesting.
So that means you guys have like a large, like you have an EOS, you have to stake, correct, into the I'm not sure what the infrastructure is.
You stake for RAM. Yeah, I mean,
like
I said, with Anchor, what they're doing with the Anchor wallet, like they're making it a lot simpler, a lot easier. So if any of your viewers are watching and want to interact with Everpedia or PredIQt, I recommend they download Anchor to do that.
Anchor, like a boat anchor, like People spell things real weird in this space. Like you never know anywhere.
Honestly, you're so right. It's ANCHOR.
Okay, Anchor. Gotcha. Yeah, I think there's another project called like Anchor. It's like ANKR.
That's right. Yeah.
So clear of any potential confusion for you guys watching this.
Do you find
really cool.
Do you find having to have like users download a specific wallet versus like a MetaMask or something that's probably more common, like a hindrance to everything that you guys are doing, or is it just a thing that you just have to deal with for now until there's like a better solution?
I mean, it's a thing we have to do with Anchor. You can like sign in with your phone with a QR code, like it's WeChat. So it's actually really easy. Yeah. Like, I'm really proud to see how much the EOS space has evolved. And I feel like it's only a matter of, as long as we make it like more easier for people to sign up, then I feel like, more people will come interact with decentralized applications like Everpedia and PredIQt and others on the EOS chain.
Yeah, that was literally the main selling point for me. Is like the focus of the user experience. You know, like that's I
Yeah.
think the most important part when it comes
Yeah,
to
because
any kind of product.
Mhm.
could you imagine like every edit you do, you have to pay a fee? It's
It
unworkable.
would, yeah, you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
would be dead,
Yeah,
dead in the
we
water right
wouldn't.
now.
Yeah, I mean, Lunar was a project on Ethereum that's trying to be like a Wikipedia on the blockchain, and they're not even around anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Well,
we have personal experience with that. We have a DApp of our own. It's a marketplace built on Ethereum. We interact with ERC20 contracts, and it's really difficult right now. You know, average gas
oh
price
my
is probably
God,
like $10 or more for anything
it's
you try.
insane. Yeah, all
Yeah.
the yield farming and DeFi stuff happening. It's really
Yeah,
exciting though, you know.
it
But
is
like,
exciting.
but it, you know, it means people are using the network. That's why the fees are so high.
yeah.
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 So yeah, I guess everyone's like
Yeah.
fingers crossed to
Are
like
you
this
guys?
is all fixed.
Yeah. Are you guys familiar with PredIQt at all?
No, we would like to hear more about that for sure. It's a prediction, or not a yeah, like kind of like Augur,
yeah.
right?
It's the Augur of EOS basically. That's the
There you
easiest
go.
way to think of it. And
Yeah.
it's actually funny because it's actually cheaper to get an EOS account and like interact with PredIQt than it is to do one transaction on
Oh, for
Augur
real.
because of the fees.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
how it's the Augur of EOS. We're a prediction market. We launched the last year. And it's really cool because I don't know if you guys saw this the other day, because we have user generated prediction markets.
Mhm.
So you have IQ, let's say you have a market idea. So earlier this week I had a market idea. There was a yield farming platform that launched called Spaghetti, and then you could farm pasta coin. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, how can I make a prediction market out of this? And I'm like, okay, what metric can I use? And then the big metric now is total value locked or total value staked.
Mm-hmm.
So these yield farming protocols, they have like 200 million, 300 million, 400 million stakes. So I'm like
in a day, sometimes.
In a day.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
So I made a prediction market. Will spaghetti money have $500 million staked in 36 hours?
Damn.
Yeah. And so I
what do you think, man? Like, what's your personal thoughts behind all this? The DeFi, like, are these all memes, or do you think this is? Yeah, go ahead, finish.
I'll finish the story and then I'll get to the
okay.
Because I do have thoughts on that.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, oh, this is like, so I just put it out there, tweeted at Spaghetti Money. They retweeted it. Then like DeFi Prime retweeted it. Then like the CEO of Compound retweeted it with his comments. And what's cool about it is it started a conversation saying like, guys, are we getting too ridiculous right now? Are we gonna have to self-regulate? Like, are we gonna have to self-regulate? And people are like, how can you self-regulate a decentralized protocol? So it started this conversation. Yeah. And then the next day, CoinDesk comes out with an article about Spaghetti, and in one of the bylines, it says the prediction survey site Predict had a market on whether it was in CoinDesk. Yeah. So like it's really interesting to see like how prediction market, because
it could almost be like a marketing tool for a lot of things.
I mean that's one element that I feel like people haven't used for prediction markets, but
like you just kind of you just pretty much proved it.
Yeah, it's a different way to get exposure to it as well. Yeah. Like if you don't want to participate in the yield farming, you can just participate in the prediction.
Like basically, you're betting on like the outcome, right? Like that you have to set. Like you set your own parameter.
Yeah, and so it's cool because prediction markets and IQ, the markets themselves, you can either make an IQ market or a USDT market. I like doing IQ markets.
How did the tokens get used in that aspect?
Oh, because in order to submit a market, you have to submit there's a fee in order to propose a market.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next part is to say in the resolution process, the IQ token is used as well. So this PredIQt actually increases the utility of the IQ token. We've been seeing a lot of.
I wanted to ask about that because you don't necessarily see too many projects with like a single token being used on multiple
things.
Applications.
I like to say we want to make IQ the foundation of knowledge economy powering a family of decentralized applications, and these are basically the first two. But I want to get back to your question about memes because I'm a big fan of memes. What was it again?
I mean, like whether I guess we all feel like we're in like a DeFi bubble, I guess. But now it's becoming like obvious, like they're almost mocking our intelligence with like these ridiculous memeable names with like yam and spaghetti and noodles.
I wouldn't consider it mocking. I would like, I think the thing about DeFi that makes it way different than 2017 is just how playful it is. Like in 2017, you had these projects like, oh, we're gonna raise all this money and change the world by putting dentists on the blockchain or whatever. And then they raise like, you know, however much money. 50% goes to the team. I don't, you know, there's a pre-mine, 50% of investors, blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, they're not, you know, it's all this stuff. But with blockchain, it's just like, hey guys, there's no pre-mine. This is unaudited code. Be careful. There's a ton of risk. You have people, you know, and like I think memes are really important because it just, it makes people, you know, look at it like, you know, attracted to it. I kind of think of it as like a cat with a red light, you know how like cats like, you know, cats have, it's like kind of like that. And like, it's just something like, even though it's so ridiculous that we can't keep our eyes off of it, whether it's pasta, spaghetti, based. And it's just so simple. And people it's so ridiculous. It's like it's so funny that these like emojis have hundreds of millions of dollars locked up in them. And now the challenge now is like, you know, we have this yield farming craze, but like, what's the next step in yield farming? You know,
isn't it a little bit crazy though that there's a lot of attention in the DeFi space where the point of a token is to get, you know, 3 or 4% back on a yearly basis. You don't think it's a little weird that all this craze on just like, you know, this small annual percentage rate for these token projects?
Wait, what are you talking about specifically?
Like DeFi or anything like that that's like getting all this attention right now. It's all for, you know, the annual percentage rate of a few percentages.
But aren't the ones that are real popular have like, they're up in the thousands of percents, I think.
Yeah, so how yield farming protocol, well, there's like a few ways to dissect that question. So how yield farming protocols work is like, there's like, there's these different idle assets, whether they're link, or synthetics, SNX,
Compound,
or maker, or comp, you know, and you know, you stake it in. If you're early enough to stake in the platform, you get an early advantage in the yield curve, and then you get rewarded with like yam token or pasta token, and then you know it's up to you whether you want to, you know, hold it, you know, speculate, sell it, want to like, you know, see like, okay, like I'm part of this community now, like how can we improve the governance of it? There's like a lot of different things you can do. So that's just like yield farming is just one aspect of DeFi. There are other ones, you know. Let's say like, you know, one of my favorites is Wi-Fi. Have you guys? Yeah.
Yep, we
Wi-Fi.
Saw that.
Yeah, we all seen that one.
That
so Wi-Fi. I'm a big fan of Wi-Fi. I've seen that thing since the beginning, and it's really cool because like I kind of view all this stuff as financial alchemy. It's taking like lower financial assets and making them into higher forms. So for example, with Link. What you can do if you want to like have Wi-Fi is you have your link, you deposit it in Aave, and you get A-Link, and so you earn interest from, you know, the Aave platform for like lending out your link, and then you can deposit your A-Link into Yearn to get Ya-Link, like Y-Link, and there's these different things, whether it's you know, earning interest on, you know, your Aave, and then like you're borrowing it out, and you still have your original link. There's all these different
can they just keep
components?
Can it just keep propagating from there? Like,
it's all these like different composability, and it's risky because there's a lot of moving parts, and one part breaks and the whole thing falls apart. I highly there's this thread by this Twitter account chainlinkgod.eth that like goes over exactly what I'm saying, and it's just what DeFi does, it turns your idle assets and makes them work for you. It's kind of like how money works for you if you put it in a bank or if you put it in a fund. It's basically the same exact thing, and it's crazy because we're so early, but it's also evolving so fast.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potentials for scams too, because if you stake your link into a smart contract to get some dust coin that's potentially not going to be worth anything.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look for signs, like before you stake, you have to like, okay, like how's the website look? Is there a GitHub? Like, you know, what's the Twitter? Like,
what's
the
team?
There's definitely a way. There's signals to recognize scams and recognize. I think my favorite thing, one of my favorite signals is who's supporting it. like, is it a bunch of anons or, you know, which there's
Yeah.
actually,
that does happen,
there's a lot,
4chan.
you know, the anons can be risky because, you know, they could be, you know, you saw like Ample just fucking crash.
Yeah.
But then you have like the anons on 4chan with Chainlink in 2017, and then they're all millionaires now. So like, that's very risky, but you know, that's one component that you can see, like, judge a project, like, is Anon supporting it, or is it like, are there like smart people supporting it? Are there like legit people, like whether they're like, you know, active developers in the space? Like, you know, there's different signals you can use to judge projects and protocols.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It's
the
been.
problem with the problem with I was gonna say the problem with spaghetti was it wasn't that exciting. It was like a, you know, the contract was signed, but it wasn't that exciting. Like they really didn't do anything different except in their second pool they added a YYCRV liquidity pool with the positive token.
Yeah, with Curve. Yeah, even talking about Yam, that wasn't a scam. It was just an error in their smart contract code for the rebase.
Yeah.
I mean, they had like several thousand octillion coins being added into the circulation, and that's what devalued the coin.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was it's one of those things where you have to do that level of due diligence, like even just like looking over the team, and then like are there smart people supporting it, and then you have to be able to look at their audits, and then even just look at their smart contracts.
Yeah, it's like up to you. Like that's the whole thing about DeFi. Is like the code is unaudited, which is risky as hell.
It is.
Like, and they're telling you like it's unaudited. Like, you know, they don't risk all your funds, but like it's just it's crazy. You know, you have things like that Yam that don't work out, but then you have like Wi-Fi, which is like, you know, not only did it like launch, you know, and like, you know, there hasn't been bugs yet, but who knows, like, but like, you know, the community has really taken over governance and like adding like new tokens to the Wi-Fi vault and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's really crazy.
So does this like market kind of shift make a difference to like what you do with your IQ tokens? Like you're thinking about staking them as well, or is that thought?
With us, you know, prediction markets are part of DeFi, so we consider ourselves part of this DeFi wave.
Okay.
And I mean, that couldn't be more evident with us being linked in Coinbase. But another thing we've been exploring very actively at Everpedia is oracles, which have been pretty important to the space. You know, you have projects like Synthetics using Chainlink for their price feeds on their synthetic assets. Like Chainlink is huge; they're top 5 cryptocurrency by market cap, and they really cover all the financial bases really well. But you know, what if there was like a different? One thing we were thinking at Everpedia is like, okay, like how Chainlink works is like all these like centralized oracles, they come to an agreement. You know, it's a very complicated process, and you know they do it quite eloquently. But like, what if instead, if we had major organizations like, you know, for sports like ESPN, you know, for news like the New York Times, like, what if they just cryptographically sign like the data, whether it's like for a sports game result or like an election result or a polling result, and then, you know, whatever, whether it's a prediction market or whatever on the blockchain that needs that information can just use that cryptographically signed information. It's, you know, I consider that like kind of a bridge between just, you know, centralized oracles and decentralized oracles like Chainlink. This is like kind of like a medium ground, but we see potential there with oracles.
I would think with the NBA is sort of like an authority oracle. I mean, if let's say one of the teams wins a championship,
exactly.
It's like if it comes from the NBA, you have to trust it, right? But then you don't have to depend on the NBA. You could do this without the NBA. You could just have decentralized oracles. Just say, "Hey, tell me who won." Submit that to a smart contract, and the consensus will decide who actually won for the smart contract's perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
So
there's you got the nail on the head. So there's like, you know, there's definitely an opportunity in the oracles we're looking at. And you know, other than that, you know, I think it's, you know, really exciting what we can do with our prediction markets, just like keep covering the DeFi space, because like it's just so new. Like as you said earlier, it's like a kind of like legitimacy for the random protocol that just gets sprouted up in a day.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me a lot of when I first joined Everpedia in 2016, 2017. I was just a writer, you know, an executive editor, and so I was just trying to find trending topics to write about. And so now I take that philosophy and apply it to prediction markets. In like a very niche field. That's the key. If you want something to blow up, it's in like a very niche field. So
yeah, Are you still
Yeah.
writing articles today?
I write it here and there. You know, I
Okay.
contribute, of course. Yeah, like you know, I actually have to keep up with mine, my
Yeah.
page. That's actually the one thing that people don't realize is like how fat quickly your life evolves, and then you look at your Everpedia page, you're like, wait a second, I gotta update that. I remember
There's
in
some info missing.
yeah. I remember in 2017, I was like on the one sub community I focused on was SoundCloud rappers. I literally
Oh
knew
yeah.
every SoundCloud rapper before they blew up. I basically
That
had
was
to
like
be,
during the golden age of that too,
yeah,
like
it was like Lil
2016,
Pump,
2017.
yeah, Lil
Yeah,
Pump,
yeah,
X and Tosh Young. I made 6ix9ine's page. I didn't even know it was a rapper. I thought he was a meme. And actually, he didn't have a Wikipedia page for 6 months, and
yeah.
so
Oh
we would just
wow.
get all that traffic, and we would get like he ended up getting hundreds of thousands of views from evergreen traffic.
Dang.
And so it's just like these niche communities that like you just got to focus on. It's like kind of like a hotspot because like then they're hot and then they kind of like fade away. So then you got to find another niche community. But that's the beauty of Everpedia, honestly. It's like it's the
That's really cool.
scholarly resource for all these things that are up and coming culture that aren't considered scholarly at the time, but will be in the future. I like to compare it to how when jazz was invented over 100 years ago. You know, no one took it seriously. It
Right.
was just, you know, people considered hip hop in like the 80s and 90s. You know, but now jazz is studied in universities.
Yeah, that's a good
I kind of
point.
compare it to that. It's like recording history before it's considered history.
Hey,
Yeah.
for the entrepreneur standpoint, could you tell us, I guess what you can, from going from a writer to one of the founding teams in Everpedia?
Yeah. So a little bit of my story. So I'm just saying in 2013. You know, I was still in college, big fan of Rap Genius, and like I started editing the site, and I loved News Genius, and I became an editor. So I became on like a low level mob. And I was like, oh, I'm so cool. And so then I friended all the founders and stuff. And one of the it was Mahmoud Moganam. And so I saw Mahmoud leave Rap Genius and go to Everpedia. And I saw him post his Everpedia pages my senior year of college. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Like I've thought of this idea before. Like, why doesn't so-and-so artist have a Wikipedia page? So after college, you know, sent out a status looking for interns. I hit him up, start writing pages. And then I'm just like, this is my path. I don't know why. It's like a gut feeling in my stomach.
Yeah.
And then
It's like a passion, right? Like
yeah,
a passion.
I would like wake up before my work. Like I had like a I had a temporary a temp job at a place, and I would wake up early, and I hate waking up early, and I would wake up early specifically to make Everpedia pages for that day before they train.
And this is before like the crypto part, right? Like so you
This is
weren't really
crypto
making
wasn't
money.
no crypto wasn't even a thought. This was just a
Damn.
website. This was in the summer of 2016.
So what part of the process did you like the most? Like you just really enjoyed writing, or
I've
was
always been a writer. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
So I've been like, I had blogs on the internet since high school. And I
wow.
had like blogs throughout college and stuff. And so I had like experience. I never really went viral, but like I was really good at writing, and the people, like the small following I had, really liked what I wrote. And in college, I was a political science major and history philosophy minor, double minor. So all I did was write papers. So, like I really, so any students out there that are watching this saying like, oh, like go to business school, like don't do humanities and stuff. No, like you learn how to think and write in humanities, and that's got me so. That's the thing that's really propelled my career. But anyways, in summer 2016, I was living in New Jersey at the time. I'm from New Jersey, and so I'm doing all this in New Jersey remote, which is a volunteer editor. And then they invited me to like be on the founding team full time. So I must have been like. I moved to, so then 2 months later, September 2016, I moved to LA. You know, when I bought my plane ticket like literally 5 minutes after they like invited me, and I told my parents, and they were like, "You did what? What do you mean you're moving to LA?" But like they were supportive generally. But you know,
they probably just assume you
There
say
was a
LA.
shock.
It's like I'm going to Hollywood, mom and dad, or something like that.
Honestly, like I never was one of those kids on the East Coast. I was like, oh, I'm gonna move to California. I was never like that.
That's right.
Like,
coastal battles, right?
Yeah, California always was like always, you know, brought out to be the promised land. Like everyone's I'm going to Canada, the weather, you know, the beaches, you know. And so it was cool. I was like, oh, moving to LA. And so moved there in 2016 and lived in this apartment, this like 4-bedroom apartment. We all lived and worked in this apartment. This was like, you know, Facebook movie status headquarters.
Right.
And then, you know, I was just an executive editor for like two and a half years, basically.
Wow.
Grinding, you know, at a bunk bed.
What are the roles of an executive editor? Like,
Yeah,
what were
so
you doing?
I was just like a monkey just writing pages like nonstop.
Hell yeah,
But
like a writing bot.
I was a writing bot. Yeah, I was really good at like covering trending topics and covering evergreen topics, and I just did a ton of I just did research all day, and I've probably written like thousands of pages. I can't imagine how much.
Wow.
How
long? How long
like
are these pages usually?
Yeah, some of them are like short, some of them are long. It depends, you know. Most of them are people, some of them are concepts. I got who knows how many, but slowly I started, you know, the great thing about what I love about startups is like people have it all wrong. They think like they get the role, then they prove themselves, but that's not how it works. You have to prove yourself and then you get the role. And so, you know, early in Everpedia, like, you know, I like was actually like in charge of sales because at one point I used to sell the Everpedia pages to like marketers and entrepreneurs because like you know how Wikipedia has a whole underground economy of people pay for Wikipedia pages.
I actually don't know that.
It's a whole thing. It's technically not allowed. It's definitely not. It's like technically not allowed, but like you know.
Yeah, because the whole idea of Wikipedia is supposed to be like this 100% like truthful source of information, right? Like an encyclopedia, but there's problems, right?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, why don't we just make it transparent? So I was like in charge of basically like sales and managing referrers and like, you know, we got a good amount of clients and stuff, but the problem was it wasn't scalable. You know, but like it was good experience like at sales. And then, you know, eventually I don't know how I got started doing partnerships, but I'm just like I'm an extrovert person. I'm really good, you know, talking to people, getting to know people and stuff. So I started doing partnerships in like 2018. We got this partnership with this like upstart like MMA league. It was like one of my first partnerships in Atlantic City. That was cool. You know, we made all the Everpedia pages for the fighters that night. Actually, we got their interns to do it and stuff. And yeah, it was cool. I got to go out to Atlantic City and, you know, was supposed to see my family and friends and stuff. And it was like, cool seeing Everpedia. Like, this is brought to you by Everpedia. I'm like, oh, that's dope. But eventually I got some really big partnerships. One of them was with, it's funny how like the stuff works. Like one of them was with Excision, who is a huge dubstep DJ. He's probably like the most famous one in the world right now. And I somehow got connected to his team, and he was doing this thing called the Artist of the Week, Spotlight Artist of the Week, where you like tweet out up and coming dubstep artists. And I somehow convinced them to tweet out an Everpedia page too, along with every single person. So for like, you know, like several months he was doing that. So like it was be like the artist, their SoundCloud, their Everpedia page. And then, you know, we got partnership with Hacker Noon, where we had the Hacker Noon contributor of the day. You know, Hacker Noon's a great site, you know, love what David Smoke and everyone's doing there. And then, you know, probably like my biggest partnership I got so far was Brave. You know, Brave browser, creator of the day, and we get free advertisements on their platform. But so like I slowly went from like, you know, writing, and then like I was like, what does Everpedia need right now? And so I'm like, oh, we need partner.
You were the one thinking that, right? Like nobody really told you like how to strategize, how to onboard partnerships. Yeah, like it was all you pretty much.
It was pretty much all me. I figured out on my own. Like they're just like, Dave, and then like eventually like, Dave, go do this. I'm like, all right, fine. And so then you know, it's gained a lot of, and then, you know, and on top of that, in like, you know, April, I went from like direct, you know, sales editing, partnerships editing, and then they wanted me to do full-time partnerships and exchanges. And so I had to deal with a lot of exchanges. I got us listed on a few exchanges actually. I'm, you know, dealing with token health and whatnot.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, we got listed on OKX, which is pretty huge. Binance, of course, is huge. Exchanges are a whole different world.
Yeah, can you talk about that? On Binance? Yeah.
Yeah. What's the process of getting on Binance?
Can you talk about that? Yeah.
I mean, it's like a whole, you know, they do a bunch of due diligence and stuff. We didn't actually pay a fee when we listed on Binance. A lot of projects pay a fee, but they like saw the you know, the value and long-term potential in us, so they listed us for free.
Yeah, that's awesome because like Binance is that juggernaut force. Like if it's like the
Oh
legitimizer.
yeah, it's the
in the crypto
liquidity. It's
space,
the
right?
liquidity black hole. We have so much. But then, like,
Yeah.
I slowly, there's, director of partnerships and exchanges. Now I'm vice president of business development, and now I'm in charge of media and communications. So now I'm basically the official spokesperson of Everpedia. And everything I've done, I've learned on the job.
Yeah.
I just like figured it out. I'm just like, all right, I'm in charge of communications. I should just get my face out there as much as possible and try to explain Everpedia. So yeah. And here we are. Here we all are.
No,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, because having that responsibility and being successful at it there's a whole lot to learn. Well, so one of the questions that I have is like we struggle with writing. At least I do, because my background is in engineering. Is there any tips or tricks that you use to like write something where you don't have that writer's block?
Yeah.
That's a great question. It's like when you're really passionate about an idea, it just kind of writes itself. It's so easy. I guess sometimes I just have to. I need to have a fire under my ass and a motivation to do something. So outside of Everpedia, I recently I made a speech at a virtual conference about like something I'm like really interested in. Terrence McKenna, who's this kind of philosopher guy. And like I basically like hyped up the speech a lot, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm like, oh shit, I better not fuck up this. So I like really went in on this speech, and it ended up being like 20 minutes long, and like it was a huge success. But so like I would say like if you want to like kind of get out of writer's block, it's just put a fire under your ass. That should do it.
Do you like overly critique your own work like after?
Oh yeah, I am so, I'm always reading over. I'm like, oh, it can always be better. And I remember like my first Terrence McKenna speech, I was literally editing it like up to like 5 minutes before I had to go on. I'm just like, no, I gotta change this.
What's the best place if you're gonna write something? Is Medium still the best place, or what about these other platforms like?
I think Twitter threads are the best place to write.
Oh, really?
Yes. I actually, because I was thinking I wanted to write more about DeFi stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm gonna make a Twitter thread. And so I did. It went viral. It went out. It has 150 retweets, 400 likes, and over 100,000 impressions. And I'm like, whoa.
Wow. Damn.
And like, yeah. So I would say if you want to just like write and get yourself and your content out there, and you don't care about all the other stuff, Twitter threads are the best way to go.
Interesting. Well,
yeah, I've heard the same sentiment from Maddie. He says the same thing. He's like one of the big marketing guys in our Decentralized platform. True. So, yeah. So, Twitter's onto something, man. For a little while, he was talking about
it's the hive mind.
Yeah, he was talking about TikTok for a little while too, but I think those days are over or something. I don't know. There's something going on with TikTok.
Yeah, Trump. Yeah, Chinese and all that. So.
Yeah. I respect what TikTok has done. I just don't want another like social media black hole to scroll down. I'm just like, no, like I can't. I only have so much attention during the day. I can't let
100%.
Yeah, well, we got to bring you on to talk in Decentralized. Have you heard of the Decentralized project?
Is that an ETH project?
It's an Ethereum project. It's an open world metaverse. Where
I think so.
Where you have different landowners own different pieces of the land.
Is that Mana?
That's correct.
Mana their coin?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, it pumped recently, so there was a little bit of more attention to it. But they have different conferences there, and it's like virtual conferences. So you're like on this huge board within this virtual world, and you're just it's like
I'm
this
down.
Conversation. Yeah,
it's you can get me on, I'm down.
Hell yeah.
We have like actual like some beautiful buildings, like a crypto valley district.
Yeah.
Where like there's these conference centers, like they look legit as fuck, and there's like a whole interior setup where people come.
And would I just be like a screen like this, and I'm speaking in this like
like we would be doing this essentially in the world, and there'd be like probably a couple hundred people watching, like little avatars running around, like watching us talk.
Oh, that's so cool! It's so cool seeing all the virtual things that popped up, be like Fortnite concerts or live stream concerts and stuff. Like
Yeah, we had a real big one during the SpaceX launch.
Oh, I can imagine.
We all watched it in the world together, and then the Decentraland team surprised all of us with an actual fucking SpaceX rocket that came out of the ground and flew into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like no one was expecting that, you know.
So is it all virtual reality, or is it on your computer?
It's on the browser. So all you
Okay.
need is a computer and a browser, and then you can jump into Decentraland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How does the mana token work in it? Do you want to buy land? You have to have mana or something?
Yeah, so to buy land, you have to have mana, and you can buy land in the marketplace. So there's no new land to buy, so you have to buy it off of somebody who already owns it. And once you own it, then you can pretty much deploy anything that you want, like from a house to like a digital pet if you want. And it's completely decentralized, so you own that land and you control it. You can put whatever you want, like literally any content that you want, you can put on that land.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and just to talk about a little bit about the project that we were doing, just so that you know kind of our background is we built this application for Decentraland where anybody can deploy content, user generated content from that application. So for example, you'd go to this marketplace and you find this digital pet that you want to deploy. And you could you go to this marketplace, buy it, deploy on your land, and now you have a pet on your land. And what's interesting about what we're doing is that some of the content, the user-generated content, actually generates revenue for the landowner. So, for example, in this pet game, you could essentially feed your pet and sell food to other players who have their own pet. And so now from the land, you're selling food, you're making some money by selling that food, and players are upgrading their pet, like gaining experience points and evolving and so forth. Kind of like Pokemon, right? It's called.
It sounds like, I was about to say that sounds like Pokemon or like Neopets or something.
Yeah, so this project is called Etheremon. So they have very similar pets like Pokemon, but eventually you will eventually battle them in Decentraland, and so it looks really cool. So that's sort of what we're doing. So we're interested like in the DeFi space a lot, just because about maybe a year ago,
you can do some like actual yield farming thing, like
dude, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So now
like
that was like
farm your yams. Oh my god,
Yes.
that'd be so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because we were talking about this about a year ago, we were speculating that we figured that DeFi was going to take off and really be the catalyst for the next bull run. But at the time, there was no such tokens. There was basically just MakerDAO
they're just
and
protocols,
DAI.
right?
It's just
Yeah, they're
protocols.
No. Comp started the whole yield farming craze, and
Yeah.
then it's just gotten like parabolic and ideas from there.
Yeah.
We literally took our eyes off of it. I don't know. We just never postulated the thought of like these tokens or these protocols would have governance tokens one day.
Yeah.
You know, because we recognize like that's what fueled 2017 bull run is the token market, right? Like,
The ICO for craze.
the ICO market. Yeah.
Now it's like the yield farming stuff that's really propelling it. We'll see. You know, who knows? Like, it's so hard to say. Like people try to compare it to 2017. Where are we? Like, it's just like maybe this is like a little blip and then it goes down.
It's true.
Who knows? I really know.
So do you think we're on the uptrend from starting this year to like say the end of 2021? Like most people.
Yeah, I think we're
Bitcoin?
definitely on an uptrend. There'll be ups and downs though.
Yeah.
But like we're definitely on it. It's pretty clear we're on an uptrend. There's so many different elements in it. And it seems like the communities have matured and separated so much. Like Bitcoin's its own universe, Ethereum's its own universe.
Yeah.
You know, they have such different ethoses, they have such different, use cases. And like it's just so interesting because now it seems like Bitcoin is, mainstream in a way. Not saying that core community isn't mainstream by any means, like the OG members, but like everybody knows what Bitcoin is.
Well, just recently there was an institution that bought $250 million worth of Bitcoin for their primary fund, and so it's starting to permeate to the bigger institutions now.
Yeah, it's proven itself over the past decade. As a secure asset. Well, not it's secure, but it's very volatile.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on Bitcoin specifically. Do you agree or on the general concept of the stock to flow ratio, where Bitcoin is eventually going to hit $150,000 or so plus in the next 2 years or so?
In the next 2 years, I think it's on that trajectory for sure to six figures. I don't want to put a timeline on it. But yeah, you just look at the past performance of it over the past 10 years, from worthless to a few cents to $1 to a few, you know, it's been
100,000.
absurd. It's just been going up.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
I mean, and yeah.
It almost seems
yes.
too good to be
So
true,
the answer
right?
is yes.
Yeah. That's what we
No,
always say. Like
it's
we
proved itself. They had so
Yeah.
many times it could fail, but yeah. So yeah,
like even the pandemic. I mean, it brought it down to, let's say, $4,000.
Well, that was because people were just pulling out of assets of everything.
For
It was
sure.
like a macro
Yeah,
event.
for sure.
So that you know,
Sure.
you can see it recovered really quickly.
So if you were to pick one, gold or Bitcoin, which one would you pick?
I pick Bitcoin.
All day. Yeah, same here.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
gold's
only
cool.
because we're not a panel of boomers. Otherwise, we'd all be saying gold. You know?
Yeah.
I like wonder if Peter Schiff is a troll.
Yeah, I think he's
honestly.
trolling. He's definitely loading up on Bitcoin for sure. It
You
has
think
to
so?
He's probably having so much fun.
Yeah,
trolling.
because think about it. I mean, if you're Peter Schiff, you got financial advisors. I'm sure the financial advisors are saying at least put like 10% in Bitcoin. You know, but
I mean, he would have to hide it because
It's
he's
a great way to
literally-
get attention, you know.
it's true.
So he knows it. He's just like, I'm just milking all of you guys. He's
Yeah.
obviously gotten so much free Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I mean, he did lose his wallet for like a few minutes though, but who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's it.
so yeah, I think Everpedia is interesting because one of the things that I like the most about Everpedia is like the user generated content. Have you seen a larger uptake with that user generated content when you've introduced
Oh
a
yeah.
coin?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we have different communities all over the world. I'll give you an example of one community is in Nigeria, we have like a whole community of Nigerian editors that like to make things in their, you know, from their, you know, kind of culture and like kind of pop culture and what's going on there, like their influencers and stuff. So we see stuff pop up like that, and it's really cool. And they're really the head on cryptocurrency in Nigeria, honestly. Like everybody's like knows about it and stuff. Like everybody's trying to like get to interact with it, like see like, oh, you know, it's really cool to see.
You know, I find. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Do you think there's a correlation between like third world regions and like crypto adoption? Because I anticipate like in Decentraland, we're gonna see the same thing because like we're actively trying to build like an actual game economy where
for sure.
in order for you to earn on these platforms, you have to participate with your time and your skill base and whatever kind of game ecosystem that is built. But obviously you're not going to be making like hundreds of dollars. It might be like a couple bucks a day or something, you know?
Yeah, no, obviously. It's really, I mean, for sure. I mean, they have like so much more reason, you know, and so much more motivation to like try these new things out. It's like, oh, like we have nothing to lose. Like, meanwhile, here in America, we're so lucky we have like,
exactly.
You know, stable currency, easy
banking
access to credit.
system. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, you know, people don't even realize, people live in like a kind of like the ocean of the dollar, and everybody's just kind of like a fish, and they're not even aware they're in the ocean.
Yeah.
And then when you get out of the, you know, you get out of it, you're like, wait, there's more. There's like something else out there. Yeah. And then you become, you know.
Then you become an amphibian, right? You're like
literally
you're literally evolving. It's pretty crazy. That's a nice little analogy right there.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome because I think user generated content is interesting. It sort of kind of plays along the whole gig economy that we saw in the last decade or so, where people are not necessarily employees, but they're like, you know, just doing gigs. And
now in California, they're like they might just bet, you know, Lyft and Uber just might shut down because they don't want to deal with like the new laws.
Yeah.
And then that's gonna really mess up a lot of people's lives because I didn't have a car in LA for 3.5 years for most of the time I lived there. And like, I don't know where I would be without Uber. I can't imagine.
Right.
Like, I would just be devastating, you know?
Be a lot lower bank account, just taking cabs everywhere, basically, right? Like that was the old infrastructure.
Cab drivers rejoice.
Take advantage.
I don't know, like so many people's lives depend on, you know, especially in LA. It sucks to have a car. So many people just take Uber and Lyft. I mean, it's just been so embedded in the city for like, you know, slowly more and more seeping into it for like the past. You're just gonna pull it out. You're just gonna pull like that. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
we'll see what happens. If I go back to LA, I'm gonna probably drive there.
I mean, that reminds me. I mean, we have Apple completely pulling the rug on Fortnite. Like they just pull
Oh yeah.
not only just Fortnite, but anything that's using the Unreal Engine in the
Yeah.
games. So it's like everything. You know, you got to be careful.
Yeah, it's it's so interesting seeing like kind of these new battles taking place because they aren't really between. They're not like in the 1500s, 1600s where they're between great powers and stuff.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like these like huge multinational corporations that employ like people. I mean, it's funny they're still the huge multinational corporations, but they're just like in different ways.
Yeah.
In different forms, and now like it's these different agents and parties battling it out, and now Epic Games is trying to get like a coalition together to fight the Apple monopoly and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm starting to see this trend where everyone like around our age or below, they're starting to, instead of have like a traditional job, they have multiple sources of revenue. Like from
for sure.
gigs economy to like writing, like internet.
I know a bunch. I'm 26. But I know kids younger than me that like they started either like drop shipping sites or they just started like Instagram, stuff like and like they just like developed their own hustles. There was a huge underground economy of selling verified check marks for a bit. I don't know if that's still up and going now, but like I'm sure every person in tech has seen like pay for a Forbes article.
Yeah. No, that's true. I think that's like blockchain is really going to accelerate that too, because like for example, yield farming. First of all, you have to have a bunch of money to do that, right? Because if you don't have that money, then how are you going to farm any of these tokens?
It takes money to make money.
Yeah, right. But on top of that, there's like Everpedia. Then you have like things in Decentralized where just by contributing to that community, you could generate some revenue. And just multiply that, in a couple of years, it could be 10x. Once that, the community grows, I mean, you could easily make a reasonable income just by contributing to all these different communities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like the possibilities with blockchain. That's what gets me most excited about it.
Absolutely. My favorite thing about blockchain is the erosion of the old payment infrastructure. Because I came from that space too, and it was like it's a pain in the ass to break in, and it's extremely difficult. It's like battling Apple, right? But there's like 3 of them with Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. So I totally know that space too, and I that's why I'm bullish on just blockchain in general, for the personal nature of bringing these guys down. That's what I like the most. But that's sort of
for sure.
Sort of like very specific perspective in my
it's personal for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just like a new system, it's a new world being created, and we're so early, and we're actually shaping it. Which is pretty cool.
Exactly. Yeah, I used to tell Iman all the time. I was like, I think we were too young to participate in the growth of the internet, and now with blockchain, we can't miss this opportunity. We have to contribute. We have to do something.
I felt the same way about Bitcoin, and now here I am. I feel like I'm participating in the growth of DeFi somehow.
Exactly.
So it's pretty cool.
Definitely
cool
man.
to be part of that. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So
it's pretty cool.
On that note, so it's been about an hour. David, what's your Twitter? That way everybody can connect with you.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at @DaveSaidThat_. So I'm DeFi Dave on Twitter, so follow me.
And everybody
That's a good name right there, dude. DeFi Dave.
DeFi Dave.
I didn't choose DeFi Dave. DeFi Dave chose me.
Nice.
Yeah, copyright that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, David, thank you for joining us today. Hopefully we'll bring you back, and maybe this time we'll be in Decentralized. That way you can kind of see the whole space and talk to everybody there.
Yeah, I'm down. Let me know.
Hell yeah.
And, all right. Quick, before we leave, what's the webpage for Everpedia and PredIQt?
So Everpedia is everpedia.org. We're on Twitter at Everpedia. PredIQt is predict.everpedia.org, and we're on Twitter at PredIQt Network. Join our telegrams.
And PredIQt is spelled a little weird too, right?
PredIQt is PredIQt.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Because it has the IQ tokens there. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, cool, man. Yeah, we're probably gonna maybe make an experimental video. I might do that and create our own fucking block runner page or something.
Yeah, that's a
you
good
know,
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do that.
Good.
And maybe we'll just launch it next to this interview. You know what I mean?
Hell
Why
yeah.
not?
Yeah,
That's a good idea,
for
man.
sure.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
David.
Well, thanks for coming, bro.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
having
much,
me. See you guys.
man. Bye-bye.